2012 has been declared the Australian Year of the Farmer, and it seems there's good reason to celebrate. The sector was a steady performer during the global financial crisis. Now, improved seasonal conditions across most of Australia, favourable commodity prices and a weakening Australian dollar are leading to the forecast of a 6% rise in the value of farm exports. According to the National Farmers Federation, it's shaping up to be one of the most positive years on record. On a Skype link from his farm at Walker in New South Wales, here's NFF President Jock Laurie.
Oh, look, I think things are looking very positive. Season-wise, it's fantastic. There's no doubt about it. There's been some very good rain right across many parts of Australia. Commodity prices are looking pretty good. I think there are strong views that markets will be very strong into the future, and Australian farmers are in a strong position to take advantage of that.
Now, world populations, of course, are growing, and that means opportunities, but also a lot of others trying to take advantage of them. How competitive is Australian agriculture?
Look, I think Australia's always been very competitive. For some reason, we can get out there and compete against anybody, even though our cost of production in many cases are higher than a lot of other countries, especially through some of the Asian countries. We manage to be able to compete on those international markets. But at the same time, we've got to be very cautious about pieces of legislation that are introduced into Australia that add cost to our cost of production. And that's one of the reasons that we're arguing, of course, about the carbon tax, for instance, is one of those things that was adding cost that we couldn't actually pass on to anybody. So we need to be conscious of that. We need governments to be conscious of that. And we need the Australian community to really understand the industry and how we operate.
Now, according to the NFF, the sector is in that fairly unique position of actually inviting people into it where others are downsizing, isn't it?
Over the last decade has been very difficult with the drought in many areas of Australia, and farmers have had to take on a lot more work themselves and actually had to let staff go. But now, as we're seeing seasonal conditions turn around, and certainly we're seeing some of the very strong markets around the world, and some very strong production on agricultural businesses right across Australia, we're seeing some of that jobs growth again. And obviously it's creating some issues for us because the mining sector is also very strongly reliant on continuing to grow its job market too, and the simple shortage of staff out in regional areas is an issue. But it's something that we'd like to, we'd like people in city areas to consider. A great opportunity in agriculture and working in the agricultural industry in Australia, provides some real incentive for some young people out there and some real encouragement. So, have a look, see what you can do and come out in a regional area and help us along.
But that just seems so contrary to what we've heard over the past decade of farmers walking off the land. It doesn't sound like a very inviting industry.
People have been walking off the land because of the severe drought, and that's created many problems. It's certainly created a lot of emotional problems, a lot of stress that many people in the city never ever see. They just go and buy their food and don't really worry about where it comes from. But people have had to deal with that on a day-to-day basis, trying to produce those articles and that food and that fibre, and trying to deal with the vagaries of weather have really created some enormous problems. But you do get the ups and downs in all industries, and certainly in the drought times it's a very bad time for agriculture. But then when you get good seasonal conditions and good commodity markets, it provides great opportunity for expansion. And that's exactly where Australia is at the moment, I think, in a position where there is that great opportunity as the world population grows, and Australia in a position of being one of the, a very, very strong producer of agricultural produce.
Jock Laurie.